Hello everyone and welcome back to another Division 2 video. We continue to playing our Division series with 12 SS-Panzer. And this one, you might look at it and be like, okay, well, it has some quite nice tools. Why is this bad? Especially if we compare it to some other divisions that, have some of the same things, like the light armor, some light armor transports, and those are good. So why is this bad? Why is this so low ranked? Well, there's multiple reasons. It has some significant weaknesses. It just has some lacking strengths too. This is one of those cases where there's just things that are not here that are in other divisions that make them good. And there's also some key differences here between some of the good German tank divisions. So first off, what the division has to offer, of course, is some light armor, which is good. But then if you go into the infantry tab, you start to see some differences, right? So not necessarily to compare to other good German tank divisions, but this one, at least, it doesn't have any cheap and special infantry. And that is an issue, So you just don't have anything cheaper than a Panzergren. Nothing above the curve here. Panzergrens are good, don't get me wrong. They all get the bonus of being fanatical, but that doesn't really make them very good. It's a trait that I'd rather have it than none. It's also not a good one, really. Like it can be quite annoying when it comes to CQC, but other than that, it is not that powerful at the end of the day. So there's that. But yeah, so some of the other tank divisions have bigger or cheaper infantry tabs. Some of them also have better or cheaper infantry. This division has none. Then the tank tab, it kind of continues. You don't have anything light here. So some other good German tank divisions have Panzer IIIs or the Stiege M42. This division has neither of those. You have Panthers and Panzer IVs, and while those are okay, they don't make a good diff. Especially the Panthers are just in a very rough spot where against a lot of tools they actually don't perform super well. Just because of the reason that your Western Allied divisions can generally clean those up quite nicely. And when you go up against the Soviets, they can bully T-34 85s and non-2K tools, but that is just a general thing. But as soon as you go against the IS-2s, they can't really match those either. So it's just one of those things where it's one of those divisions that's just in a rough spot because of that. Now, in the support tab, we do have just the standard tools, but we do get some nice armor transport, which is pretty cool. Tank tab, AT tab is another massive weakness of this division. You don't have any light AT. And the slot costing is insane. It's like 2, 3, 4. You need the Panzerschrecks. Those are must take, in my opinion. Then you can decide between Pak 40 or the Jagdpanzer 4. You see that I've decided to take the Jagdpanzer 4, and I'm not so sure if I'm going to regret that. I actually believe I will, but it's too good of a tool to let go of, and I think it can kind of help this division out in areas where it's struggling. So just that. Now in the A tab, nice tools, but we get this, which you could be like, oh, this is so good, but the reality is, it is very expensive for what it does. Now you can use it against infantry, but if you compare it to like some of the special Flakpanzer that 20th Panzergren gets, this thing is not so heavily armored, so you want to be very careful with how you use that. But yeah, and then we have some nice things over here with the Wolfram, but then we go back to the air tab, and you can see, well, our lacking infantry tab cannot really be counting on air support. So there's that. But you get a good artillery tab, as I was going to say. So that is just where this division sits. It's kind of in a spot where its strengths aren't really good enough, even though it has some. And it just lacks some things that are essential for an efficient division. And it's just one of those divisions that don't really have a good spot in their niche. We could say that this is probably more of a long-range division. Due to the amount of Panthers you can take, and you get the IG-33, you even can take 2 of those, but I would rather have Krille with a tank division, to be honest. But you could say that, but the problem is, again, where would you not put that in? Like, there's not that many divisions where I would say, yeah, I'll pick, I want to face them with 12 SS. And you have a lot of the general weaknesses of some German tank divisions of mid and close range. So you can kind of fill in with those, but they're just not that good at the end of the day. So yeah, as for the build, there's not that many options in the recon tab that are seriously to be considered. So of course the Aufklärer in the SPW222, I think is a no-brainer. You have this thing, this is really bad. I gave it a try. I wouldn't recommend it. You think it might actually do the work, but so far it is very niche. So for the queue, I wouldn't take it anyway. But even if you play in tournaments, it's mostly a letdown, really. These are good. Of course, we take them. Now, we do have some of it. Like, this kind of must take, in my opinion. Now, this thing is really just not that good because the ammo count is too low. It runs out too fast. Now, admittedly, 180 rounds is not, you know, an awful lot either. But those 80 rounds more, it's almost 100% more. It's 80% more, actually, to be precise. But that makes a massive difference. Like, with this, you can do quite some damage. With this, you do a little bit of damage, then you run out. Firefly... It's 2k for not too much of a price point, but we can take a Panther D leader for 20 points more, and that gives us more armor, more pen, and the leadership bonus. It is an option, but I personally prefer that, and I prefer these in the tab over here. And in, you know, this one, you get it at single vet, and you don't get the radio. So you have to decide which of those two you would prefer, but I personally decided to just go with these because having some actual recon tanks, you should double vet them with your tank blob, I think is very powerful. So I'd rather have more of those to go around. In the tab, really not that many options here. This is basically what we got. I'm seriously considering taking just one of these and using that one. But I think 2 Panzer Grunts and the Shrimp Pies is good. Shrimp Pies over Panzer or Pioneers, in my opinion, just for the simple reason that those don't need to micro that hard, because they will be able to beat grenade throwers, and you know those you need to micro. So there's that. Otherwise, not that many options here. We take the leader with a transport, this one, which also has a G, so you can support our infantry up close, and you can deal with light armor with this one. Tank tab, also not that many options. We basically have the choice between Tigers, Panthers, and Panzer IVs. And in the when it comes to Panthers, we have Panther Ds and Panther Gs. Now, Panther Ds are not that good because of the lower armor. They also have, I've been told recently, a slower turret rotation, which actually quite makes a difference, but at long range is not that significant for the most part. Now, the Panther G is 10 points more expensive. You do get that nice APCR, you also get the additional armor, but I'm not so sure if we need that so desperately. The reason why I take one in B phase is because this one actually gives us nice availability of double vet, so it's quite nice if you want to face threats that this thing can realistically deal with. And this thing is just so that we have at least some capability of dealing with IS-2s if we manage to get into APCR range, which the Panther 2 will not win against an IS-2 ever. And then we just have some Panzer IVs. I take these in C-phase because we get more of those. They have a slower turret rotation, if I'm not mistaken. But I just kind of accept that and get more of it, really. Although the difference... Actually, let's just take the better ones. We shouldn't really run out anyway. And then in A-phase, yeah, same kind of concept. But we also take a leader so that we have some more Panzer IVs to go around, because these are kind of our bread and butter in this division when it comes to armor, really. Support tab, again, not that many options here. This thing is bad. We take one machine gun, we take an edge for to protect the H-18. Some flamers. I would love to have more machine guns in here to help out with our infantry tab. That also would allow us to have one in a fast transport like the Horsch. But yeah, we don't do that. Now, I decided to take these guys because they're really useful. Again, with their HE support, we kind of use these to zone out our opponent at the start, and then we have to wait for these. Significantly slower, but I think it's worth it here for a whole combination. Light armor is something that can really be a problem for this division, because again, once you run out of those, the cheapest thing you have is a Panzer IV or the Jagdpanzer, which is not ideal because you're not going to take any AT guns. And even if I would, the Pak 40 is also not a good counter to light armor. It's just way too expensive for that. So we want to have some of these around. We're also going to have some of these around. The reason why I specifically take that and not the other one, which you could also take, is really the capability of also doing some infantry support, right? So this one has the APCR, which is not bad, actually. It's not bad. But this one is basically the same, just a little bit slower rate of fire, but 5 damage in return. Actually more range, and we have a little bit of HE damage, which is not a lot, but, you know, it can help. So this thing is a bit more multi-purpose, and I think this is what we can really use here. Yeah, the AT tab, We talked about it. AA tab, again, we talked about. The only thing that I would consider taking here is maybe the 20 mils, because it gives us something cheap to do if our opponent has something like, for example, the GOs in 20th Panzer, which are super cheap, and those can help us to have a cheap answer to those. But I think Flak 36 is cheap enough if you have some 88s, which we can use as multi-purpose, is why I take them in A phase. I think in B phase, there's plenty of things around that can deal with them. In A phase, not so much. Möbelwagen are Möbelwagen, they're not bad. We take them, I would, having a build is quite huge, but I personally would rather have them for cheaper. So I'd rather have like a Flak 43, but it is what it is. And then the artillery tab. So do we need the observer? Maybe not, but then we have one slot left. What will we want to do? Take for that? Not really all that much, at least not in here. So, having some more recon is always nice to have. Radio mortar, I think, doesn't need an explanation, is always a good tool. SK18, also always a good tool. I take them as single vet, you can definitely not vet them, or we could take them with no vet in A phase to have them sooner. Actually, that might be a good idea. Let's do that instead. There we go. And Wolfram just super good. They can also help us in the town we don't have an off map, which is also crucial. So mid-ranges, this thing is also not as good just because it doesn't have an off map, but this thing can kind of help us out there. Help us out in that area a little bit. So that's a useful thing to have. Can also be our answer to IS-2s, depending on the map and the situation. If our opponent can easily spot those ahead of time, then not much we can do with those. But if we can get them into good positions, that can help us tremendously. Now the air type is also not super strong, so this is kind of a problem because we also cannot support our infantry with the air, and now that we already know we can't support super well with light armor. And so this is probably the best plane you can take here. The reason why I don't take any of that is this is just super slow. It also has bad resilience and very bad agility with worst. And the loadout is also nothing to write home about. It's fairly cheap for the loadout, but it's also way too slow. So this thing is just going to get forced off and or killed. So it's just a waste of points. Same concept for this. It is faster. It has 2 sets of bombs, which is really good, actually, generally speaking, because you can turn one set off and both of them do quite a bit of damage. And then, you can turn it on after the first bomb we run, do another one. But it's just, again, way too slow, and it has bad resilience. So medium resilience would be something worth considering it for 500 kilometers an hour, maybe. More would be preferable. And this thing is just bad. High-flying bombers with small bombs, even if you have a lot of them, are just not good. The spread is too big. That leaves us with this thing, which I'm not a huge fan of the rockets, but, it is faster. It has medium resilience. It has a good gun loadout, and the rockets actually fire from further away as well than the bombs. So, that is at least going to do something sometimes. 2 rockets with massive damage is also a bit of hit or miss, because sometimes they hit and otherwise the spread is just massive and they don't do jack shit. But, sometimes useful. We can also use it as a fighter. We're going to take a fighter because I've started to like them again more. It's always going back, and I'm always going back and forth on that matter, and all this changes a little bit. But at the moment, I'm thinking fighters are actually not that bad of a choice, especially since our AA tab is, in terms of quality, not fantastic. These double vet are okay, but they're not good. And Flak 43s are good, but I'd rather have them with vet, which we can't with them with because we only get 2 of them. Not really all that comfortable with that, those numbers. Now, we could definitely let go of the fighter. I don't think it's a must-take, but then we have 2 points left. Now, even if we then remove the Beobachter, and then we have 3 points left, which would allow us to actually really take more things, I think both of these combined are worth more than taking something else in the support tab. And I just don't think we need more tanks. I don't think we need more recon, really. So I think this is just kind of the sweet spot, but we might change that afterwards. Of course, Maverick, in my opinion, is the best way of going with this. The infantry tab is just not deep enough, and none of our crucial tools are deep enough. I also don't think that our 2kg, for example, is deep enough. So how do you play this? I do believe that you want to play this relatively aggressively early on with your light armor, and then you just want to slowly start building up. And just overroll your opponent with a wall of some infantry and some of these light armor tools early on. But yeah, I think you want to use those aggressively, hopefully get some good traits and pressure, and then you can build up your tank forces and artillery backup and just start rolling. Because once these are operational, you can really bomb out clusters that you can't really get in with your infantry and then push forwards. And this is what you're going to have to do. You want to stay out of, you know, primarily infantry areas as much as possible, because while you have those guys to support, they are, you know, those kind of areas, it's a bit tricky. Also, of course, depending on the matchup. But, you know, in an area like Harashai and Atan, where they can at least support and maneuver around, I think it's not as bad. And here we are, of course, on Harashai, which is a map that you don't want to play this division on. We're up against Blindata, which is the Romanian tank division. It's going to suffer from some of the same issues as we do, which is good for us, actually. It does have some light AT, however, which is going to be a bit of a problem. It does also have cheaper infantry and, more importantly, more and better CQC. Or at least better. Not sure about more, but better. So we have to be smart about it. I don't think they have AT rifles, which is good for us, though, because those things here are not going to get killed that easily. So the question is, how are we going to do this? They do have Stukas, so we have to be a bit careful about getting air spammed early on. Don't know what's that supposed to mean. I'm just going to say hi. Which I should do more often anyway. It's, you know, a matter of manners. But anyway, so over here, I don't think we really want to contest this too much. We could, but it's going to come at the price of losing a lot of CQC units quite unnecessarily. Now, one of the issues I actually just noticed is not having any AT gun really sucks, because I would love to want to position one over here. But the problem is, even if you would put one there, it's a Pack 40, and the Pack 40 is going to suffer. So maybe it's good that we don't have it here. Let's keep this like over here in the back line, just, you know, chilling there, waiting if something comes, we can fight it. But yeah, because if you have the Pack 40 here, it's easily bombed, and that's 60 points gone that have not done anything. So maybe it's actually better like this. But yeah, we're just going to put something here to hold that off. We're going to take some recon, putting that over here, and then we just see, maybe he doesn't have AT here. He also doesn't have a ton of AT guns. I think he has the 47 mil, and then he has Rashitas. I'm not mistaken. I think that's about all you get in this division. So I don't really see him putting in a 47 mil like over here, or over here. And I also don't really see him putting Rashita here at the start. It just doesn't make any sense. So I think the SPW222 might actually be able to get in here, and then he can potentially do some damage. And I could just put that, like, I don't know, somewhere over here. That's a good spot. That's a good spot. And we have recon for you, which is important. So that's that done. Now, the SPW, how fast is that? I could actually just check over here. It's not... Yeah, it's not that fast, but it's also not that slow. So maybe we get away with trying to sneak away over there, because I really... Oh, actually, I know how you're going to do that. That's also useful to have. I'm going to try and sneak this one over here. Oh, this is a very good thing to do with your recon, in my opinion. Getting this over here, because you can actually get to see a lot. You can see some things in here. You can see the reinforcements that are coming in. So that's generally very useful, which is why I like to do that. So yeah, everyone who needs to play tournament games against me, or ever plays me in any scenario on this map, be aware. Now you know. I think you've seen this plenty of time anyway. So if all my tricks, and you know, there's a lot of players doing that, but I think all my tricks are already known anyway. There's, I think that ship has sailed at this point. Yeah, so the recon first, and now we have to think about how we're going to do this, because we can't just blindly charge with our light armor. This is not one of those matchups where I can do that. But if you group it up, I think we're just going to do the light armor blob again. I would love to put it over here, but this is the easiest. This is the easiest place to block off light armor, really, always. So maybe this is not where we're going to send it, but we could use an SPW over here to, like, I don't know, move somewhere in there. Like a 231. I mean specifically the autocannon one. The 75mm one is good in other scenarios as well, but we're gonna use this, and you can like hop up here, and we hope there's no AT capability like right here. And it can actually do some quite nice fire support from over there, which is pretty good. Not just that. Next thing we have to do is we have to decide where we're going to push. And I think we should take this. Considering the matchup, I think we actually have a chance of doing some work here with our light armor. Surprisingly enough. But we still need to be careful. And it's mostly going to be Panzerfuß as Panzerfuß in here, so neither of us should have a natural advantage there, I don't think. So I think that's okay. In the town, we're going to struggle a little bit, but I think we had... Oh, does he have an off-map? I hope not. We have the Wolfram, so as long as you just don't lose the town early on, I think we should be good. Okay, we really should take an AT gun maybe, because there's nothing faster that can establish dominance, although he's nothing faster in either, so in this match I'm actually be lucky. But yeah, this flank, I'm going to leave it as it is. We don't want to put more there. I don't think there's a need for it. We want to have flamers in there, probably, just to make sure that we're not gonna... He can't just rush in here and take it with his flamers. This is something that people sometimes do. So we have those over there. We're going to take a machine gun. It's going to take a while to arrive, but at least we have some nice light armor to support. Right in here. And we can cover off that axis. It's also a very common place to push. And I think we can just try to take this with infantry and a lot of light armor. So maybe just group the light armor up and we don't rush with it. I don't really see a reason to rush with it over here. Or at least I don't see any benefits. I think that's the important part. So we are gonna take those flamers. You can go further back actually. So we're gonna take 2 of those flamers. We're gonna try to get like in here. And we're going to send some light armor with them. Like so. That should be good. It's 2... No, it's... Okay. I'm going to take another one of these. That should be alright. And then maybe some, you know, line infantry. Like in... There's not really many places where we can support our armor from with line infantry just there. But those guys should do well in here, and maybe another one in there. We can wait with that one. We can wait for that one to arrive. It should be a safe position. So we take in the half-deck, which can help us a little bit. We should probably take some actual armor. And we should send some infantry, some leadership with our infantry. Which is good. Then we can use the half-track as well. We should maybe send something as a follow-up over there. In the form of some Sturmpires. Good. And then we send the tank in there too. Which is probably going to be slower than all of those. But yeah. So we don't put much here. I mean, just try to fight from over here, push him out. And we can start pushing over there. With the remaining forces, we are gonna... Right, and well, we're not really pushing that anymore now with this deployment, are we? 1 in here, 2 in here, 1 in here. We send the leader, send another Sturmpire. That's actually just enough. So, all right, that's not horrible. That's a deployment. We do have some light armor for support. Just need to be very, very careful. And these guys are not very useful just yet, but we're gonna have to wait and see. Ready? Good luck. Have fun. But it's gonna be an interesting one. I don't know that player, so that can be a good sign or not a good sign. But it's always like that. If I remember a name, that can be a good sign. If I don't remember specifically why I remember it. And the same thing if I don't see anyone. So, although I think most good players in the queue I'm familiar with by now, but you know, still meet some new ones every day. Some returning good players most of the time. But let's see. It's not an armor-heavy deployment, which can be a problem against an... Well, that's just me not... Actually, no, we have a lot of light armor. But that's just me also not being very proficient with armored divisions. So if you don't know, I'm really bad with armored divisions. I'm more of an infantry player, and I always use way too much infantry, way too little tanks, and if I use my tanks, I use them poorly. So this is kind of what you have to get ready for. I do my best of not making so many armor mistakes, but let's see how this is going to go. But yeah, it's no, he's pushing. I'm more worried about this, and I don't have eyes on it yet, which I don't like. The fact that this is going like that kind of tells me that something's probably over there. Although it's stopped now, this is pushing, so it might be good. Because it's trying to push through here with something. Oh. I think we're gonna get through with those guys. Oh, kill the horse. I don't know with what, but he has horses. Okay. Oh, and he has early artillery. I want to kill that. I really want to kill that. Now the arm is arriving too. Okay. Okay. Cut him off. Cut him off. Get armor in there. We did the little flipperoo there. That's good. Lost some of the light armor. Oh. Okay, yeah. Take that, push that. And you can push forward over here. You have to rush this. Oh, actually, never mind. We can actually start pushing that with the flamer, I think. Okay, I want to kill that. Is that so costly? If we can take that right now, that would be a huge win. And now we can see if we can get a hit on that. Bring more tanks in here. Good. That's killed. That was worth the sacrifice. Sacrifices must be made, and sacrifices we made. Alright. Let's push that forward. Let's take out that mortar. You need to run, I guess, because this thing will have AT. Actually, okay. We can also do it that way. That's one way of doing it. Okay, you can surrender that and move back. But there's a Panzer now though. Okay. Strumpy in here. Let's clear that out. Let's push that thing forward while we have it. Let's follow up with some infantry to hold things, and more infantry to hold things over here. So I don't like the look of that. So he's using the IARs, which are not that good. Here's the bad thing. We'd love to put an AT gun here just to camp reinforcement, but we can't really do that. Let's maybe fold this back and put some Shrimpire or something like that in there. I'm getting pushed over here. Maybe I'm going to need some air force over there. I'm going to need infantry in here for sure. Yeah. Okay, it's pushing that now. We're going to need some more infantry over here just to hold that forest patch. I don't want to get pushed out of that. And now we can start pushing over here. Maybe we can push that with our Panzergrans. We need to spot what's in here. I don't really know what's there yet. Something's in here. I can't see it. I don't like that. Okay, Mentor the Carter is spotted. Might be... Oh, and we can see the AT gun over there, which is good. Now, you, sir, will have to... Actually, this is a bad idea. Probably because it's going to get spotted, but we're going to put it up there. But we still need to find out what's over here. So... Whoop. Something's got to be there. Just don't know what. That is a bit of an issue. We can't really rush in there because of the Stu 42. Although, looking at the reinforcement, if that is accurate, we might be able to sneak something in here. Let's see if that's going to work. We're going to get some support things. Oh, a recon diet. Didn't even notice that. Is it worth... there we go. It was a flamer. Which is okay. That's okay. We got it. Ooh, maybe like, you know... This just so that we don't like walk in front of the Panzer IV. Okay, you can unload here. You can actually move into a nice position here. Wait, this is a bad position. This is much more useful. And we should get some AT over here as well, in case there's any light armor over there that's gonna push us. Yeah, this is not ideal. I guess we're gonna get some more tanks. That's gonna be the answer here. I should probably cover off the range. Oh, there's another Ventotic car. That's the same one I've already been fighting. We can probably take it out with that from a distance. If they smoke the way in here, I'm gonna be in some trouble. So let's see how that's gonna go. Let's try it like that. I'm winning fast, so I don't need to bother with dealing with his air force necessarily. It's good, but is he spotting that one? Got shot nicely. But yeah, I don't think we need to bother with AA too much at the moment. Oh, no, you were not supposed to move. You can engage that. It's actually better to wait, probably, until we have more of those. But you actually should be... Oh, I have more of those. I just need to use them, don't I? It's easy to forget things, but of course I think there's quite a skill difference in this game. So I can allow myself to do it. It's of course not ideal. Now... This game is kinda creating a bit of a dilemma for me here, because it's very fast so far. But if it's like this, it's okay, because I just don't have time to play more this week. So I have to take that if I want to bring a video out on time. And I don't really, you know, if it's just a stomp, I don't actually like using that as my game to show to you guys, but it might have to be here. Oh, it is out of position. We can fall you back a little bit over there. We're gonna get some more actual... Oh, okay. We also have light armor. Plenty of it. Yeah, you know, we can cover off that off with a machine gun. Then we have some light armor there as well, full support. I moved. We'll just wait to B phase and then we get one of these in. And that should do the trick. We have to be very careful up close, but if keep at distance a little bit. Oh, no. Yeah, we should probably be careful not to get too close to these kind of areas. And now... just move this into not too dangerous position over here. Same thing for this right here. Just put it like, I don't know, somewhere over there. Oh, what's just died? Yeah, I could have guessed that it's not going to work super well. Oh. Why did you push forward? You were not supposed to push forward. You can move over here. It's going to give you an angle. Yeah, and now they died. Okay, that's alright. Gonna take some more infantry. Gonna take some AT in here. And then we just have to wake him over here, actually. That's going to be the strategy, I reckon. Because this is where we can actually... Okay, so this actually worked. Can we get in here? That doesn't seem to be anything. It's probably a bad idea, but who knows. Let's take those back, as long as I don't know what's there. Oh, do we see that stick? We do see that stick. Okay, that's cheeky. Not what I would have expected. This thing did die. Actually, we could get one of these guys in the church tower. And then we should be able to get... Actually, we can... Yeah, the Wolfram would be overkill. I think just this in here can clear this out for us. I should maybe call this back, because, yeah, I was going to say, I'm afraid that this is going to be Rashidza. And it is. Oh, actually, don't go there, don't go there. Well, you can go down surrendering now, I reckon. Okay. And we can put you here over here. Oh, okay. Shrimpayo, I guess. Take care of this for me. Can we just surrender? We might be able to just surround this by moving that way. The Stu-42 could kill that, but let's see. What do you see? I don't know. Alright. Let's fall him back. Let's move these into position. Let's see if they can get an angle on it. Let's see if that can move. That could move. Those could still be in position where they can do something. And I guess it's time to get another mortar in. I mean, there's no thing that... Oh! No. No! But, I mean, that's fair. Ooh, this is actually quite useful. Sturmfire here needs to maybe do fall back a little bit. Just a tiny bit. I want you in there. Where is the Air Force? Oh, he's trying to stop that. Fair enough. Yeah, I think it's gonna die anyway, and it does, so I was right in that regard. What's this? SPWGREU. Okay, it's just a regular half-track. It's nothing special about it. Actually, I should put maybe like something in here. Up here at least, so that he can't sneak to pan. He has a bazooka over there. He can't. I wanted to sneak that through over there. Actually, we should maybe get some AA in here, because if he can get close to the AD, if he can bomb this, I'm going to be in trouble. That's what it comes down to. But yeah, it's not going too horribly. I should maybe use the leader actually. So that means putting it somewhere where it can do some use. And not just sit there. Okay, we're gonna get more AA over here as well now. It's getting to the point where I'm starting to get very annoyed. Does it do bomb tricks, or is it just using them? No, they only have one bomb, which is a good one actually. They're just using them for strafing as well. Which what's the loadout? I think they only have 50 cuts, right? So they're not that good. Oh yes. Do it. Can actually take that back now with some shrimp pios. We can do the surrounding over here. There we go. No! No. Oh, we got that. Nice. Oh, okay. Using smoke. Love it. Like, genuinely. Like, not a lot of people use smoke these days, so it's always really great to see that someone does. Like, it's actually good that players learn the skill. I mean, as I said, there's a skill difference, but you know, there's some good thought processes over there, which I like to see. Yeah, and I think, oh no, I can afford this 105. Should be careful with the Rushitsa there. Yeah, and because now he has a Pioneer Assault, they are going to be a bit of a problem. Actually, quite a bit of a problem. Should pull back from that. We can put that over there. Let's put those in a position where they can actually do a little bit more. And let's put them over here and start pushing. Then we can maybe take back that flag right there. We can also see if we can do some shenanigans over here. We can just hop in there, and if it's not Pioneer Assault, we might be able to win that. What do we have here? It is Pioneer Assault. Okay, abort. We can bomb those later on. And then we might have a chance of getting back. Oh, I do see some great potential. Not really, we can try that way. We can try that route. Not really the route I would take, but you know, it could work potentially. We can also surround it. That is a good approach. And then... Okay, fine. Well, it is what it is. And then we're gonna kill this off. We're gonna go back that way, because then we're gonna fly into the mobile button, which is gonna give us cover. Okay. Good. That should give us a flag back. This is an important thing, guys. You wanna, generally speaking, you should try to play for flags. At least as much as you try to play for actual for kills, you know. Because at the end of the day, if you can win a game with the flags, that is worth more than winning with the... What did you do? What was that all about? Well, it is what it is. We can still try to kill that 60mm mortar with this SPW here. That can also do the trick. And I think we should get some armor over here to do some flanking stuff. Just no. Oh, I had him walking instead of the plane flying over there. Okay, now I get it. Oh, that's what did it. Well, at this point it's better to commit because we might just kill it and we might not get away from it in time. But we killed it, at least something. Okay. Now we can get some 2K action going. There's not actually that many areas here where we can really use them properly. Ooh, maybe over here where we have the range advantage. SS-Panzer is doing SS-Panzer stuff. I think we want to call him back over here. We're going to pull him back. We're going to pull him back. And we're going to get some bazookas in here. Just to make it annoying for him to push in the long term. Okay, we got that dealt with. It's good. It's good. We lost that flag, but it's alright. Oh, crap. I thought it was still aiming it. I didn't micro it. That's my bad. I think it still showed side armor. Yeah, I should have counted as side armor. Now, the ammo, the crit, of course, kind of sucks. Not gonna lie. That was some bull, but can't always win. That is just a part of the game that you have to live with. We can actually try to have another go here. Spread this out a little bit so that if a plane comes, you can't kill all of them. Jeez. Yeah, that is, I think, pretty decisive. I really can't complain about any losses. I mean, let's be real there. But he, you know, I think it just, I mean, the first few trades were really bad for him. But apart from that, of course, I think he just way over-invested in his Air Force and didn't really get enough out of it. So that is a big trap that he can fall into. I mean, the trades weren't even that different, you know. Let's see. No shaming here. It's actually, hold on. It's actually quite a high level, but not that, okay, actually quite a lot of games. Okay, I'm surprised here. But, you know, that might be one of those returning long-time players. And, I can tell you, I took a quick break at some point, and I was very out of shape there. And now I clicked the stats away, didn't I? Well, let's do the recap like this then. Sorry, I'm not really that concentrated about looks of it. But so looking back at the game, I think we saw some of the weaknesses of this division. Like, for example, when I would have preferred an AT gun, or when I was running out of infantry because again used too much of it. So those kind of things I think we could see quite nicely. The light armor issue was not that big of a deal here because it was the kind of light armor that we could also deal with. So that was good. But, you know, yeah, we could clearly see that having no AT guns or anything like that is cheap. Not great. Not having enough infantry. Not great. And then also having like, okay, I have a Panzer IV. Next thing I have is, well, that's the cheapest thing. That's the baseline. And then other than that, I can bring Panthers. That's also not really all that nice. Like in A-phase, I think it didn't say that. I was thinking it though. I would really wish I had those Panzer IVs because that would have been very good in those moments. In the initial opener there, but I just didn't have them. So there's that. But yeah, I think we could see part of the problems that this division has here. Of course, it was, I think, one of the better matchups that we could have hoped for. Because Blindata is not the best of the Hungarian, Romanian, sorry. But it's not, just in general, not one of the best divs either. And it has some of the same issues. So I think that was kind of lucky for us because we could, I think that was this matchup is relatively even, I would argue. So yeah, and again, I think we also in part won because he just used too many planes and didn't really do much because while I was burning through a lot of infantry, I think it was still to a large extent the armor that was really bothering him. And he of course didn't have the planes to deal with that. I think he could have taken JOD-7 cluster bombs, but he didn't. So just that, or maybe he didn't feel like it was necessary. That could also be an option. But I do believe, without seeing the replay now, I think that my armor did actually most of the damage, while the infantry, of course, fought as well. But it was mostly the armor that's responsible for some early wins. Oh, of course, also, him bringing out that early STK sets and 1 against a division which you probably didn't know, which doesn't have that much of a scary air force, and then losing in the media, that was of course very bad. So that is also, I think, part of why this game went the way it went. So let's just go back to the deck and see what we could potentially change, and if I do it, and of course talk about my final thoughts of the division. So in terms of the build, I would honestly leave it as it is, I think, because the biggest issue that I really have with this build at the moment is this right here. But I think this is one of the only tools that gives a bit of an edge against a lot of divisions, because this is quite useful in scenarios where I don't necessarily want to bring the Panther D in, and it can do a bit more than a Panzer IV. And it is, in terms of price, it's been between those two. So that is useful. I would want to keep that. Now, Panzerschrecks, it's just essential to have those. And while I was really missing an AT gun, I'm not really sure, as we've discussed in the opener, I'm not so sure if a Pak 40 is really the tool that's going to solve our problems. So I think I'm going to leave it as it is, despite not being happy with it at all, actually. But that's that. One thing that we could definitely consider is, and that is going to be problematic because I've already felt like I didn't have enough infantry. Maybe a bit more CQC is actually good, because then we can at least, you know, turtle into those areas. And for the range, we have the armor support anyway. So I don't think we need necessarily that many Panzergrens. So I'm going to take some more of those guys instead. Is this the right call? I don't know. I'm going to take them Nova because, well, at 20 points, you really want to use them as hybrid units, actually. In which case, the veterancy is better, but then we're really low in infantry, actually. Take a look at... Maybe letting go of the leaders is a stupid idea. We're not going to do that. I think we're going to take them Nova. So now we'll use one infantry unit. We have more CQC. We can use it as... Yeah, we can use it as hybrid unit if we really need it in some situations. And most of the time, it's not going to matter all that much. But yeah, that's one thing. I think it just makes it a little bit better. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. I really wish we had something intermediate here, but yeah. One thing that we could definitely consider is taking the Tiger instead of a Panther. It is worse, of course, in a direct tank fight. If you compare this, like the right bit of fire is just worse. At the same time, the advantage that this has is it does have more damage against infantry. So at least for, you know, supporting our infantry, it's better. But the question is, do we want to have a close range support tank? I think probably not. So at least I don't want to use a Tiger for that. I'd rather use a Panzer IV or the Yak Panzer IV if needed for that purpose. So I think we're going to keep it as it is. Or maybe we don't actually need this then. But then we're back to the same issue like we had here. That's not what I wanted to do. But we're kind of back to the same issue then. What do we actually want to take? And I think the Bivouac was a nice addition there. I could use that in some areas where I just want to have the recon and not the SPW. That also means I can use those a little bit more aggressively if we want to. But yeah, again, the only thing we can get is more AA or more tanks, and I just don't really see the benefit in doing that. But I definitely think the mortar is not necessary if you do have... could we actually take in something special? No, nothing that's worth it, at least. But yeah, I just don't think it is worth having more tanks. And AA not really either. I'm still kind of tempted to take out this fighter, which you haven't really used here. It's a good thing. The speed difference is definitely there. Although 60 kilometers an hour, I think I could be argued into not taking it, actually. Leave the mortar out. This should do. Or not take the SK-18, actually. I think the mortars actually should do as well. And then we can still not take a Pak 40. But we could take more machine guns here, which I think would help us a bit. Because one thing that I've noticed is that this kind of sucks because we can't bring a machine gun fast forward. So we don't really have anything that can quickly lay down fire support. Same for the IG-18. So that may help us. We can't really put anything else in there. Now over here, there's not really all that much that I would want to take still. That hasn't really changed. So maybe that is a better way of doing it. We could also take more of those. So that would help us a lot. It would help us at the 2k. But honestly, I think having a machine gun that can also be on the front line fast is probably a better way to go with it. And then we have those that for later. Now, one thing that I've noticed that is a general issue of this build up here. You have, you're tempted to think, if you look at this, and I definitely did that mistake, that, you actually have quite a bit of light armor. So this division is not that horrible because you have the light armor available. You can swarm your opponent. But if you actually count, it's not that much, but also, even more importantly, you only need to get that light armor if you bring those tools, and if there is no area where you have a need for an MG42 or for an IG-18, you're obviously not going to bring that. It's going to cost you more, like, the unit alone is going to cost you more than the armor transport they actually want to use. So it is a bonus, but you shouldn't rely on it for your light armor. We've kind of seen that. I was realizing that I'm not actually that light armor heavy. Not as much as I expected anyway. And that is definitely a key realization that sounds obvious, but didn't really happen to me, and definitely noticed. So that again makes us a little bit weaker in my eyes at the end of the day. But this game, kind of showed me both that this division is a bit better than I expected, but at the same time also it's a bit worse than I expected because of the light armor thing. Better I think it was actually functional. This I knew, but it was a bit more functional than I expected. But then again, there was a skill difference. The matchup was also one where I think both divisions had some options there for some wins. But yeah, to start. But maybe it is a better build. I'm not 100% sure because having a fighter is nice, having the SK-10 is also nice. Now we kind of deprived of range. Actually, let's take this. I'd rather have the flexibility of the range. I prefer if I can have it. So let's do it like that. But yeah, I think this is the final build. My opinion on the division hasn't really changed. It is quite bad just because of some significant weaknesses like the AT situation, and you just don't have any particular strengths. This is not a strong 2K division, this is not a mid-range division, and this is not a CQC division. There's just for every range divisions that do what this does way better. Now this is a nice addition for mid-range, so if you can not lose too many Panzer IVs, and the price buff definitely helped here to make them more viable at mid-range. But if you cannot lose too many Panzer IVs in towns and such, for example, the wood farm can really clean up there and do the work. So it is playable at mid-ranges, but it wouldn't be my first pick. And again, for ranger, you have the issue that just there's not that many other types of division where this can actually fight against. Even if you go against other Panzer divisions, you have the issue that the Panther D is weaker than the Panther A, and the Panther G is about as strong at 2k, but more expensive. So a Tiger would also be weaker if you want to take that. So this thing just doesn't really have any advantages there. It is not your standard Panther division, but it is similar to 5th Panzer in that regard, because you do have the light armor, which helps. You do have the Wolfram, which helps, but you just have other issues, which is the AT, for example. So you worse in some areas, and ultimately it's not that much better at the end of the day. This is, I think, the place where I would end with this. What this division would really need is a little bit more generous lock costing with the infantry and just some light AT. I think this is one of the biggest issues. If this had light AT, I would put it quite, and a cheaper AT tab, I think I would put it quite a bit higher. It still doesn't have a super high amount of advantages, but I would see it as more viable at least. The ultimate thing that this thing would need is either better 2K, that it can really be like, oh yeah, this is a fantastic 2K division, or something like Panzer III for the close mid-range to make this more of a mid-range brawler, because the Panzer IV is not horrible at that now for 65 points in my opinion. But it's just the division as a whole is not really set up for that, because the closer ranges the light AT becomes way more important. So yeah, there's that. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and see you all in the next one.